Hi, welcome back to another video from Fresh Faces, New Ideas. If you like the content and you enjoy what I do, please like and subscribe, or you can follow me at Faces Ideas on Twitter, or you can listen to me at the Center Left Radio podcast, or you can go to centerleftradio.com and find the podcast there. So, what is this one going to be about? This video is going to be about, once again, the Equality Act, because that's currently what Congress is debating, and, that's one of the bills on the floor. They're going to push through the COVID bill tomorrow on the 26th. That's the reporting so far. So Republicans had the little gathering outside of Congress where they were talking about it, and I already covered Marjorie Taylor Greene's speech on the floor. So not to be outdone, Lauren Bobert, who is the other QAnon member in Congress, also had a speech on the floor, and we're gonna go cover that. Or not on the floor. She had it outside. So we're gonna go cover that and see what she says about stuff.
I assure you today that privacy is not the only right this so-called Equality Act, this Inequality Act, will take a blow at.
Okay, right off the bat, no idea what she's talking about, because privacy is not part of the Equality Act, as I covered yesterday, has nothing to do with that act, and I don't know where we're going with this, but let's continue.
As the mom of 4 boys, I am raising my boys to be men. And I am darn proud of that. As a parent, I rely on friends, family, and faith to guide me in raising my children. You know who I don't need in helping me with my parental decisions? I do not need the help of the United States federal government.
All right, she's wrong. She's wrong on a lot. The federal government is there and does a lot of things that she probably doesn't even know about. And this has nothing to do with the fact that, she's not highly educated. It's just that this statement is so stupid. It's protecting the food that you eat. It's making sure that the roads are protected. It's making sure that labels are done. It's making sure your kids go to school. Are you arguing that the federal government shouldn't have any? Oh, actually, you know what? She is arguing that because she wants to get rid of the Department of Education. The federal government is part of your life. You live in a country that has established a federal government. It is going to be part of how you raise your kids so that we have a society that functions. Okay? That's just a really incredibly dumb thing for her to have said.
Congress is replacing mom and dad with bureaucrats.
No. No. No, they're not. The Equality Act says that you can't discriminate against people because they're trans or LGBTQ. It just expands equality. It's not replacing anything. It's not. She's wrong. Again, very wrong. Doesn't know what she's talking about.
Under H.R. 5, parents who choose not to subject their child to puberty-blocking drugs, cross-sex hormones, they could have their children removed. Okay,
so I was looking through the bill, and I couldn't find what exactly she's specifically referring to, but I almost guarantee she's wrong. I know it says that they have to push for, like, they need a doctor, because as it stands now, you have to go through psychiatric evaluation before the doctor gives it to them. So I don't know how the conditions are that would in this bill that would push them to be taken away, but I whatever it is, she's almost certainly misconstruing it.
From their custody. Under this legislation, making that rational decision not to inject your child with these drugs and blockers, which can lead to brain damage, sterilization, and increased risk of cancer.
None of those things are true. I actually saw part of this before I pulled it up because I was just curious to see what she was saying, and then I looked into it. None of those things are true. The only side effects that are found from these hormone blockers is they think that there might be a bone density issue, and that's when you come off of them, and it's like mild side effects. It's like headaches and things like that. So there's no proof of any of the things that she just said. There's no proof that it produces sterilization. It just isn't. And there's hold on. Did you see the cancer?
Is considered child abuse.
Let me see.
Damage, sterilization, and increased risk of cancer.
No. So what she's conflating here is women who use hormone blockers later in life, it conflicts with cancer treatments. That's what she's that's the closest thing that I could figure out what she's referring to, unless she's just flat out lying here. There's no evidence, once again, that these things cause any of the things she just mentioned.
Is considered child abuse. Is that really where we've come to? Under this Democrat regime, which controls Congress, the arrogance of the radical left will lead them to try to regulate and control every aspect of your life, including how you gender your children.
No. At no point, once again, she's wrong. She does not understand this bill. I doubt she has read it. This bill does not say you have to gender how you gender your child. All it does is says you can't discriminate against them when they have, if they believe this. Because once again, the current process is, if your child believes, or you believe that your child is having these type of issues, whether they're gender dysmorphic, they go to a psychiatrist and they go under years of therapy and observation before they're given any type of, depending on how old they are, especially if they're a younger child, they're given hormone blockers in order to delay the effects of puberty before they decide whether they want to actually transition over. So once again, this bill does not say you have to transition your child. It just says stop discriminating against them, and here are the ways that we are protecting the people who, and where they're getting discriminated from.
Is Kamala Harris going to apologize to the girl who will lose her athletic scholarship to the boy who outplays her? Will Joe Biden...
Look, I covered this in the other one. She's just... Look, there's just... It's not a guy who's playing... It's more complicated than just me throwing on a wig saying I'm a woman and going and winning some race. It's not... That's not how it works. It's more complicated. This is already being implemented at a state level. So... should there be some type of conversation about how the hormone blockers work and for sports? Yes, but this is the fact that she's saying, will the vice president apologize for the girls who are who lose because of transgender athletes? It's just absurd.
Biden, tell the parents of the girl who gets her skull crushed how fair that is. And
skull crushed by what? So this is the other thing, and it's gonna come in the next one that I guarantee you she's gonna say. Once again, no evidence. If you look into this, there's actually zero correlation between passing these laws and an increase in violence on women. There just isn't. The closest thing I found was this listing since 1999 of basically men who cross-dressed in order to do pervy things, but none of these had anything to do with women. With these specific laws and increasing it. This is fear-mongering against trans people because the trans people are the new minority, like gay people were, and that's what they're pushing. Is they're pushing more hate.
Will Nancy Pelosi please explain to our daughters why boys pretending to be girls?
See, this is the fundamental misunderstanding. They're not boys pretending to be girls any more than if a girl was in a boys' locker room like this. They're not pretending. It's not. You don't just once again. It's the fundamental misunderstanding of what is going on. It is not guys just deciding I want to wear a wig and now I'm a woman. They have to actually go through a process for this to happen. It's not I'm a woman and now this law says that I have to go use the women's bathroom. It's just not. So this is all the thing is these people just want respect. Just leave them alone. Just let them have the same rights that everyone else has. This is just such a misunderstanding. She just doesn't understand. This is so vile.
Are leering at them in the girls' locker room. When we say the left is unhinged, this is exactly what we are talking about.
The left is unhinged for giving trans people rights. That's their argument. This is, keep in mind, this is a QAnon woman. Her whole aesthetic is, I have a gun That's literally all she did. She was the one, like, right before the Capitol riot. These things didn't happen to coincide. She had a video. One of her campaign videos was her walking around DC, and it was like a green screen DC because they weren't really able to walk around. And it was her saying, I have my gun because I'm like 5'1" and I weigh 100 pounds, and I use my gun to protect me. This is all she pushes for is QAnon and guns, and this vile ridiculous is so dumb.
This is a sad day for women's rights here in the United States of America. It is a disgrace. It is disgusting, and it's downright dangerous. This bill is bad for female athletes. It's bad for doctors and patients. It's bad for teachers, business.
Why is it bad for any of these things? Look, if you're going to continue to lie about these things, at least continue where your lies. You're just going to make a statement. I'm sure their argument is something along the lines of they're going to force them to do genital mutilation or some ridiculous other thing like that. But it's not bad for any of these things. There's no evidence to any of the things she's saying. It's just hate.
Owners and for parents who want to raise their children free from government overreach.
Yeah, but the government's not overreaching here. It's simply saying that these people have the same right, because the counter argument is it's okay to discriminate these people. So what about these kids? What if my kid is trans? What if one of your kids turned out to be trans or gay? And are you gonna say, okay, well now it's okay to discriminate against my kid? Like, this is it. The government is not overreaching. If your implication of this is government overreach, then you also have to believe that the Civil Rights Act was overreach as well, and that the women's suffrage was overreach as well because it allowed change, which she does believe because she has stated in the past that if you don't like parts of the Constitution, you don't change it.
Democrats see the mass exodus from blue states to red states, and they are desperately trying to expand.
I know this is a talking point. I'm pretty sure it's not true. There is an exodus from cities because of COVID and and just how expensive they are and people can't afford them. So there is an exodus from cities, but that's going to be either reversed as things get back to normal, or it will be reversed as people look for jobs there and as the economy changes because of COVID. So there is this mass exodus from like California to Tennessee.
And their destructive policies to the federal government from which no one who lives in our country can escape. I am proud to stand with the Freedom Caucus today in opposition of this resolution. I am proud to stand with women in the United States of America. And with that, I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Congressman Roy.
Their whole thing is just hate. There's no evidence to back up the claims. She just outright lied about the blockers. There's no evidence to prove that these bills produce higher rates of crime in these areas. There's no proof that it produces any higher rate of sexual assault. It's just not true. The whole thing is we hate these people and they don't deserve the same rights. That's all this bill does. It just gives them the same rights. It gives them protections against discrimination in schools, in housing, in credit, again, in a doctor's office. It just protects. It's an expansion of this. Literally what it says in the bill. It says this is an expansion of the Civil Rights Act. And it's look, and then, I don't know where the next level of equality is going to be. I don't know what the next marginalized group that is going to be, that's going to be the next fight. But this isn't, look, 10 years ago, gay people just got the right to marry. This is a, they're going to argue this is a slippery slope, but this is the same thing. Is we're lifting up these marginalized groups because people are becoming more sympathetic. They understand, like, as we get more access to this information, we learn that these are people who are more likely to suffer from violence or are more likely to suffer from sexual assault. These are people who are more likely to commit suicide. These are mitigating factors that we can work on. This bill does that. These people are so vile that they hate the idea of anyone else getting laid up. They don't know what they're talking about. And it is a combination of them just being hateful or being ignorant or just they just don't know what's going on. It is disgusting, and it is. I look, it is mind blowing that these people are in Congress, because they are not specifically these people who are fighting this act, because they're absolutely, we would have fought this act in the same way that with the Bush administration they were pushing anti-gay legislation. But the fact that this is what their argument is, that this goes back to my Tucker Carlson video. They don't believe that you were smart enough to realize the facts that they're talking about. This bill is called the Equality Act. All it does is allow for men and for trans and LGBTQ to be treated the same as everybody else. That's it. It's not going to force you to become a femboy or whatever your fear is. That's just not going to happen. It's not going to steal your kid away because you didn't call him by the right pronoun, which just call him by the right pronoun. It's not that big a deal. Your life is not affected by it. Just treat these people the same way you treat everybody else. And if your treatment of everybody else is this garbage, you're a terrible human being. This is just a bad argument. And this idea of government overreach is so stupid on its face, because their argument is this is government overreach. Then the Civil Rights Act is government overreach in your argument. You're just wrong. It's just stupid, and you're wrong. It's just bad. All right. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe, or follow me on Twitter at Faces Ideas. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.